Two powerhouses make their way to the final of the Dividi et Impera Colosseum tournament for Total War Rome 2, and today we'll see which one of them is crowned the champion of Dividi et Impera. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome back to another tournament match. Today we have the final and it's shaping up to be one hell of an engagement. As you can see, the Vigati are one of the factions that, this is the Incerbri. The Incerbri are one of the factions that made their way into the final after their pretty heroic early game win against, I believe, Rome or Carthage, one or the other, which really catapulted them forward. And going up against them is the Vigati, so again, another very, very strong faction. Obviously, these are going to be wielding some pretty deadly units that we'll take a look at in a second. So an all-tribal final, which is pretty fun. Both sides taking advantage of that heavy infantry, that good cavalry, and some artillery. So take a look. Let's go on slow-mo and take a look at what both sides are bringing, as this is the final. However, I will leave a timestamp down below in the description if you want to skip ahead to when the battle actually just straight up starts. So on the front line, we do have a line of medium infantry for the Incerbri, which is interesting. This is completely different to what they have been doing in the previous matches I've watched. They've gone for a much lighter center, realizing that they're not going to be going up against a super kind of powerhouse central faction like, say, the Greeks or the Romans or the Carthaginians. Them factions really stack up their center with hoplites and heavier units, so they don't really need to do this against an equal faction like the Vigati. So they're going to go ahead and just stick some kind of more cheaper hoplite units that can still hold very effectively, but not the super heavies that we've seen them be used previously. On the flanks, we do have the heavier spearmen with some Helvetii spearmen, so these guys are going to be kind of what normally takes the center, but now they're going to be kind of acting off on the flanks and kind of acting as a reinforcement section. As you can see, these guys have 21 melee defense, absolute monsters. On the far right flank, we do have a line of Oathsworn, so 4 units of Oathsworn supported back by obviously some heavy Celtic noble cavalry. Both sides really obviously going to be, kind of powering down that cavalry. And I assume the other side is just mirrored as well, yeah. So mirrored with Oathsworn and then some more medium spears. We do also have 2 units of artillery. So we have a unit of these Scorpions on either flank. And I believe as well the Gati have also mirrored that. I believe they also have brought 2 units of these artillery pieces. Honestly, I think maybe in the next tournament it would be a good idea just to ban this artillery piece, because it's just annoying and everyone, it's a must bring in pretty much all engagements. So I feel like most tournaments, I don't know, they should just be banned, because I don't think they're very fun to play with either or play against. It's just like pew pew, I kill your cavalry, and I personally don't like them, but maybe that is kind of a staple of competitive play, and there is probably a limit on them as well. So for the Gati, on their far left hand side, we do have some chosen Falksmen. So these are some of the heavier Gati units, which are going to be able to really get stuck in. They also obviously come with javelins as well, so it's going to be kind of the entire front line for the Gati player, and that's going to be pretty important of him to get these guys in, because it does seem like he has spent a decent amount on this infantry, so it's going to be pretty deadly. And already we are seeing the Scorpion unload on that front line. We can't see the rest of their soldiers quite yet, but we'll just have to expect to obviously see them as they do come in. Obviously, they have a lot more soldiers than this. We just obviously can't see everything that they brought right now. But yeah, right now, the artillery from the Scorpions are going to be unleashed. And we do have one of the Scorpions on the Vigati side of things being brought up. And I imagine that'd be used to try and counter-snipe, most likely. Just trying to hammer away the enemy units and try and bring them down. But I also really like as well that the Incerbri aren't leaving these Scorpions undefended. They've got spearmen and other units pretty close. You got another volley coming in. And again, it's just does so much damage. Already, this unit is down to 133 men. That's just insane. They do far too much damage, especially in these prolonged skirmish engagements. Yeah, definitely, I just don't like them. But anyway, I won't go on about them. So we aren't seeing any more soldiers quite yet, but you are seeing this kind of central being ripped apart. I do like the fact that they have gone for quite a loose formation here, leaving gaps between lines, just trying to spread out so that there's no collateral damage or anything. And we should start to see this artillery firing back, I would imagine. Maybe trying to pick these guys up. I'm not sure how effective it is to actually try and counter-snipe these with your own Scorpions. Because maybe you can bring these down. Maybe they do die very quickly to counter Scorpion fire. So we'll have to see just how effective that can be. We're also going to get a bit more of a look onto the rest of the Gati army. They do have some light phalanxes on the far right-hand side. It does look like these spearmen have some pretty, long spears, so probably can form a pretty deadly shield wall. Only 12 melee defense, but I imagine they can form phalanx, which really boosts up their stats, and they are chosen spearmen as well, so a pretty deadly line. And yeah, just like that, the Brigati have to come forward because these Scorpions were in a better position, and that's just really, really aiding the Incerbri defense. It's allowing them to basically sit back and, yeah, just shoot away, because right now they are definitely getting the advantage right now. Balance power is obviously still very, very even. We can't see any of the cavalry, which is really important because these Scorpions are deadly at sniping cavalry. But yeah, already there's just so much damage on these. Where's the other unit that was getting hit? Yeah, this central unit. They've basically like just demoralized the center already just with them Scorpions. Luckily the Scorpions are up now, and I imagine we'll be focusing down. Oh my god, why are these shooting at them? I imagine they would be shooting. Maybe they're trying to snipe out some Oath Swarm right now and just kind of trade. I wouldn't be surprised if these weren't very good at killing other Scorpions, but again, we haven't seen them really fire. So right now, the battle is being dominated by the Incerbri, but we'll have to see just how effective it is. Yeah, they are, I think, trying to shoot them, but yeah, it's not really doing that much damage to them. Yeah, and definitely the Incerbri have had the better end of this, with 50 kills on this unit and 31 on that one. And obviously there is like strategy of just charging forward and just trying to overrun these Scorpions like early on, just rush the enemy, but you don't want to be forced into one playstyle, and that's kind of what the Scorpions do. They force you into one playstyle. And the Incerbri are going to be pushing forward now. Sorry, the Brigati are going to be pushing forward once again, just trying to kind of get in range, I imagine, of the heavier soldiers like the Oath Swarm, because, you know, again, they really do ignore armor very effectively. Oh, the Incerbri are pushing up pretty heavily with their spearmen right now. And this could be quite kind of deadly, honestly. If they find themselves with huge gaps in their battle line, with the other infantry kind of far away from them, they can easily find themselves just completely surrounded. If they're not careful. But they really want to keep these Scorpions on lock and just keep on hammering away at the enemy line. Luckily, because of these that fire to begin with, they're really going to be able to just soften up this center and just make it so that these spearmen are going to be able to really dominate. But yeah, this is exactly a really good play by the Brigati. They're not kind of clumping up. They're not matching this kind of dense, thick spear wall in the center. They're going to send like 3 or 4 units against this massive line, and then they're going to really commit around the flanks, which I definitely like to see. If you take a look at the overall battlefield, you can start to see the rest of the reserves coming in, the more expensive units, you know, kind of avoid of these Scorpions. Oh, and this unit is going to get caught out, it would seem. I assume they would take a javelin volley, and yeah, just like that, they're having to abandon the artillery and run away. Obviously, there is a chance they can come back in, but as long as the Brigati put that pressure up, and that's big. You know, they got 64 kills on that flank, which is deadly. The other unit did manage to survive as well. And that's one of the reasons I love to bring slingers. Like, slingers would demolish this artillery piece. Yes, you would take casualties to begin with, obviously as it outranges you, but like 3 or 4 slinger volleys into this artillery piece and you would demolish it. You are seeing the Incerbri continue on the push, and the cavalry just really stack this right hand side. I assume they're leaving these gaps for the cavalry to then push forward and maybe try and cause some issues. And we're also seeing the Brigati really commit around this left flank, and their artillery now is just hammering away, trying to rack up some kills, and obviously just focusing down the Oath Swarm, because every Oath Swarm they kill is absolutely huge with the artillery. So really both sides just jostling for positions. Obviously something you would expect from a really, really high class match. Obviously this is the final after all, so these are the best of the best players. And again, they're just, you know, obviously utilizing this artillery, really trying to focus down the Dacian spearmen and anything else. Oh no, immediately going for the heavy Dacian swordsmen back here who have 16 melee attack, and already you can see they've just taken so many casualties. Oh my god, I hate this unit. This is not honorable. Not honorable whatsoever. You can see that the Brigati are really stacking this flank, and that's exactly why the cavalry have been brought to the center on this side, supported by the other shot cavalry. And again, I really like this move as well, because of the way both players are playing, there are a lot of gaps where this cavalry can just come around and find their way in. So I like the fact that this cavalry is kind of able to roam very effectively. Oh, a lot of skirmish cavalry on this side. Oh, these are the hybrid kind of nomad units, right? Yeah, the Scythian-esque units. They really need to be getting involved then, but obviously they can't until this artillery piece is no longer available. And here you go, the Incerbri are pushing up this flank, really just throwing back the Brigati line. And now we're going to get our first melee engagement a little bit as the Incerbri do push forward, but again, I think these guys are just trying to force them out of position. Again, the artillery has racked up over 50 kills on this unit, which is brutal. And once again, the Inserbria continues coming in. We've got a very, very crazy flank off on this right-hand side. And it seems like the center and the left flank for the Inserbria, or their right flank, is just going to go flying forward. The cavalry is pushing up as well. And I think what we're trying to do is they're going to really try and cut off the center. The center only has 4 units, and the artillery has been doing serious work against it. So I think if you bring your cavalry through, you could dominate the center and then really split up your flanks. We are also getting a big push as well from all of these spearmen. But again, I think this is what the Gaiety want. They want to try and draw the enemy out because they are so unmovable and just really focus down. They are going to get some good charges off, and this is really bad. Honestly, the Gaiety should be getting the charges off. They are swordsmen. Luckily, it's not going to be the end of the world if they do come up. And again, another unit right over here going to be taking a lot of javelin volleys from these swordsmen who are set up here, the heavy infantry, which they really want to try and commit in. Like, this would be perfect. I think they should just take this engagement right here, because obviously immediately you can just come around here. The Oathsworn are going to go flying into the spearmen, but again, these are light spearmen. Their goal here is to absorb the Oathsworn and just keep them busy for as long as possible. I say they're light spearmen. Apparently they're Dacian chosen spearmen, but again, they're just going to be pulling back as well, taking that javelin volley and falling back. The center itself have managed to find a few nice charges, and they have also managed to overrun this this Scorpion as well on the far right flank, which I think we always expected to have happen. Actually, no, that's the central one? Is that the central one? Yeah, that's the central one, right? Which is actually, no, they've got one back here, which is really good because that is allowing their artillery to obviously keep on racking up kills. 166 kills on this one for the Gaiety. They really managed to get some decent kills as this battle has been going on. I don't know where the other one is, as they do have 2. I'm not really 100% sure where the other one is right now, but even still, racking up that many kills, 174 kills is absolutely insane. As we get all the infantry clashing down this right-hand side, the Gaiety are throwing everything they've got in against the medium phalanx infantry. But again, the Helvetii spearmen, they're known for holding in this front line, especially in these dense lines as well. They'll find themselves in a pretty good spot. The center is really, really open, though, which is perfect for cavalry. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised we're not seeing cavalry just constantly smashing into the Gaiety, because they do find themselves pretty weak. But again, look at that. The artillery is focusing down this cavalry, and it's just such a strong unit. And it's like, cavalry is a unit you want to be killing if you can. And you can see it's already decimated a large amount of this cavalry. Over on the other side as well, 126 kills on that. And you are now starting to see the cavalry coming in. And this is one of the danger zones of moving in and going behind your enemy lines, is you leave yourself really vulnerable to these cavalry charges, which is just going to rip through infantry. Especially when they're not spearmen, and especially when they're not braced. You're going to have a really hard time of it. And I imagine this unit is going to be getting hit down pretty heavily when the casualties do come in, and the actual shock as well. But again, they're holding them in place. And this artillery piece is absolutely demolishing right now. We're getting a lot of cavalry moved around to this left-hand side. They obviously need to be very careful of this artillery piece. I'm sure they are trying to stay out of range of it as best as they can. And obviously, just getting in these javelins will really help out, especially if they can get the javelins or the archer fire into a unit such as the Oathsworn. That's kind of the unit you really want to be focusing down. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to move around this flank as well. It would not be a bad idea just to engage these Oathsworn and just use your cavalry, because the cavalry for the Inserbria are all the way on the right-hand side right now. They've got a lot of units here that aren't really being utilized, and already the bolt throwers have already racked up a ton of kills on that cavalry, so I think they could really have a great advantage. However, the center is where the Inserbria are shining. They are planning to commit a few more men over to this right-hand side and commit more soldiers elsewhere. They've been able to get a good envelopment, which I'm surprised is not being punished by this cavalry, just like charging in. You've got 4 units of cavalry right here, just all charging in here could be devastating, and obviously open up your Falxmen who are engaging the Helvetii spearmen from the front, who are going to be struggling, but they are Falxmen, so that gives them an advantage against shielded infantry. And now the Oathsworn are being charged in for the Inserbria. Going to be a hard fight, but as I said, if you can get cavalry in the back of these guys, you would take out these really expensive units very effectively indeed. And yeah, be able to move on. And again, a lot of these Oathsworn are actually really depleted, whether it's by the artillery or missile fire, wherever it's been, they've been doing a great job. The right flank is an absolute mess right now as more cavalry does come up and just continues to use that missile fire to help out. However, the cavalry is now coming crashing in. However, some of the Inserbria lines have broken, and more of the cavalry is trying to sturdy the ship. We've got cavalry moving around, but obviously, again, this archer cavalry is also an extremely strong shock cavalry as well. So what they really need to be doing is just trying to shut down this Incerbri cavalry. The Incerbri definitely have the infantry fight looking good for them, but the cavalry fight is devastating because of this artillery able just to really rack up some kills. And I wonder why it's going so far forward. Maybe trying to focus down the enemy general. And yeah, this unit of cavalry, which is going to be trying to wrap around, probably going to the back here, as they're going to find themselves in a tricky situation because they've got 2 units of shock cavalry following them. But that is also bringing 2 units of shock cavalry away. More of these horse archers just kind of being fend off by this unit of medium spears. But that's a good thing for them. They want to, 4 units of cavalry focusing down a unit of 1 spears. That's not really the unit they really care about too much. Does seem like though the Incerbri are going to be able to envelop this flank very, very, very effectively. Obviously, just ripping that center apart and kind of splitting the battle into 2. We are going to be getting these bolt throwers finally shot down, which is a praise to the lords indeed, because yeah, they were just so deadly. Gaiety General going to be coming up again, just kind of adding some more missile fire in. And again, it wouldn't be a bad idea just to try and quickly get a nice little charge into the back of any of these spearmen with this cavalry. It really is very devastating and can do some serious damage. So it does seem like this far right flank is looking pretty good for the Gaiety as well, able to break down, getting cavalry around the back as well. Maybe just a single charge there would be super useful, or just coming in the back here as well, just to help out. That's going to be what's really going to be turning the tide of this battle. Got a unit of swordsmen coming back here and just charging into the back of these guys. That's going to be really good, and that's going to free up 4 units of the Gaiety horse archers. The rest of the fight is going on, and the Oathsworn are proving a deadly foe. However, with loads of these swordsmen just being completely stacked on this flank, they're going to find themselves completely overrun. This is not the flank that they are planning to win. They really need to dominate the central battlefield as best as they can. Another beautiful charge there by the Incerbri onto just some lone infantry, which is just sitting around, not really doing much. And again, we'll go through this overview because the flags do look kind of similar. So just to double check that you guys know exactly what's going on, I'll try and go to this as much as I can. You can see, again, this kind of central position right here has been quite overrun. The left flank has been smashed though by the opposite side, by the Gaiety, and you're going to have to see if the enemy can continue to push on. The Incerbri line though making clean work of these swordsmen, and their other flanks aren't looking too bad as well. Lots of infantry is being committed and able to move in. And again, for anyone who is interested, obviously the Gaiety are in yellow, red is going to be the Incerbri, again, if anyone was a little bit confused. So if they can clean up this flank and get into the side, I think the Gaiety have this battle on lockdown. However, if the Incerbri can bring out this infantry to reinforce where they need to, they'll be in a very good situation. Oh, it does seem like the Gaiety General is about to get charged in there. I'm not sure why he's running away. I guess he's just on skirmish mode, maybe just trying to harass these guys, but I would just take this charge. It's very unlikely your general will die, and you could kill this entire cavalry unit and bring your forces all the way forward. Yeah, the Gaiety infantry is being hammered pretty heavily in the center. That consistent artillery fire to begin with has caused a big issue, and we are starting to see a few units breaking. However, the Incerbri have 2 units of heavy shock cavalry on this side, very close to breaking, which would be absolutely huge. As well as that, a lot of units are surrounding this, and this is kind of good for the Incerbri because there's a lot of units focusing down here, which could be so useful elsewhere in the battlefield. The far left-hand side as well, yeah, you can see a lot of these Incerbri units are enveloped, but they're taking up a lot of the enemy focus whilst this is going on. The Oathsworn are completely surrounded as well. Infantry on either side and on either flank. They're just trying their best to hold this down and keep the lines, as sturdy as possible. But I think it's only going to be, it's only going to be defeat on this flank for them. And you are starting to see some of the Gaiety moving their soldiers back over. I don't know why this bolt thrower, is this bolt thrower out of ammunition, or is just not firing? Maybe it got told to hold fire and then never turned back on. We are seeing though the Gaiety losing a lot of infantry in the center. However, they have now broken the Incerbri here, so all of these units should be rushing over here as quickly as possible. There is also a cavalry engagement back here. 3 units of the Incerbri cavalry engaging just 1 from the Gaiety, and they're getting another unit of spearmen here. Really nice move. I don't know why they're pulling out of this fight. They should just stay in. Obviously, they're looking to reinforce here, but I'm imagining the enemy cavalry is just going to pull out as well. But again, that's probably going to cost them, so I guess it's a good idea. I think they could have just easily wrapped this one up with the cavalry, but I guess now it does free you the ability to go around the side if the enemy aren't watching that. And a lot of the time in these big battles, you don't have the, you don't always notice stuff like this. More archer fire moving around the Gaiety using really skillful missile fire. to just hammer away on these selections. And the enemy general right now, this is a spear general unit, right? Yo, this is swords. Oh my god, yeah, 100%. Just charge him. Just literally come in from every single angle and just execute him like this. Because, yeah, committing that general is huge, and if you kill that general, that's the battle won. The Gaiety already doing a pretty good job. However, balance of power is failing against them. I'm wondering how, though. It does seem like, I mean, maybe it's flipped around. It seems like the Gaiety are in such a strong position right now, with this entire flank racked up. But I guess the Spearmen was giving them that advantage. I mean, again, as well, we have over on this side a lot of the Incerberry infantry just getting broken down, and the cavalry moving around as more infantry lines do throw themselves in further and further. Obviously, another charge here by the Incerberry coming in to break these two central units, which is going to be really, really useful. Again, another spear charge coming in. I guess they are about to break a lot of soldiers, but just that lack of cavalry, I think, is going to be devastating when it comes down to the late game, as more and more infantry do come in. And cavalry charges onto the Incerberry general, brutalizing him, bringing that down very, very heavily. Where's the general? Yeah, the general's over here with the support of the cavalry. Yeah, I think, yeah, it must be mirrored them for some reason on this. Like, they're yellow here, but red here. I imagine that's how it is. So this is looking like the Gaiety have this match, and I believe it was a best of one. I might be mistaken. Maybe it was a best of three. But if it is a best of one, then it looks like the Gaiety are going to be taking this. I'll let you guys know in the comments down below, as I'm sure you're very interested in that. But yeah, even with them managing to surround a large amount of these units, I think the Gaiety just have this. Even after taking just so much punishment from that artillery in the beginning, I think that cavalry, like, they managed to get... The thing is, I think the Incerberry got their artillery onto the infantry in the center, which is obviously what they've won. However, the Incerberry managed to get their artillery quite efficiently onto their enemy cavalry, and that really demoralized them. And yeah, you go in with half a unit of cavalry, it's just going to be a bad day. And their infantry just hell, they really stacked their flanks a bit more efficiently. The Oathsworn, by the time they got in, were weakened, and they were just able to kind of really stack the flanks in the center. Again, I think this is how you take out a faction like the Incerberry, who do want to have their medium phalanxes in the center. You just ignore it. You put like 3 units there to hold down like 6 of these guys, and you just throw everything at the flanks. And as you can see, the flanks ended up crumbling very, very effectively. And this was a decisive victory. Like, there is a lot left for the Gaiety. Like, that flank, even though these spearmen did a great job, they had some decent kills, they were fighting such a small part. They were fighting a tiny part of the overall army for the Gaiety, and the Gaiety just kind of committed so much of them flanks numbers. The cavalry is really strong for them, obviously, having them nomadic horses from the Scythians, and just able to take this one. And as I said, I believe this was a best of one, but I will check as the battle ends, and I'll let you guys know in the outro if this was a best of one, and who actually, if this was multiple battles or what. But yeah, really nice play from both players, really committing. There was a good battle plan, good army compositions as well. Again, I hate the artillery. It's just not fun, and I hope it's banned in the next one, or maybe just, I don't even want to see one because it's just so dumb. And again, no missiles either side, just going all infantry. Again, I rate missiles so much. Not so much, but I'd always bring like at least 2 or 3 in my armies, and just no one bringing any in this one. So I'll quickly take a look and see if the victory was held by the Gaiety, or if this is a best of 3. Okay guys, so I think this was just a best of 1, and in the end KWC does take this, so massive shout out to him. Either way, I mean, he does end up winning the tournament, so even if this is a best of 3, he does end up clinching it. And yeah, really nice moves there by KWZ, noticing, and probably watching the previous matches, seeing that the Incerberry really did stack that center, and basically just ignoring it. As you can see, kill wise, if we take a look at the Incerberry, their artillery did really good, but it was just eventually outmatched. And I think these kills on the Gaiety missiles as well ended up just hitting the cavalry, which is deadly. Really nice plays as well by the cavalry on KWZ. Again, a lot of these horses just didn't really commit, and they still got a lot of kills. Just using that missile fire was a nice positioning. And yeah, that center, just even though it got a lot of kills, just could not commit. And as you can see, a lot of these Oathsworn at the bottom were just unable. So yeah, just a bit more maneuverable, a lot more lighter spears from the Dacians, and able just to really hammer down them flanks and crush in the center. So yeah, really nice moves right there. And as I said, it was a pretty decisive victory, I would say, because they have a lot left towards the end of this battle, only losing 2,000 men, which is, you know, under half of what they actually brought to the battlefield. So once again, massive shout out to the Colosseum tournament for running this. If you guys want to take a part in more competitive Dividi et Impera matches, make sure you check their channel out. I'll leave a link to their Discord down below in the description. Big shout out and congratulations to KWZ for clinching the victory, and I'll see you guys in the next one.